The top 10 tank players in OWCS so far. No real intro today, but before we get started, let's go over some ground rules. This list is based off of who has been the best throughout both years of OWCS. This is not based on who's the best tank players right now. This means that longevity matters on this list. Also, keep in mind, this is very subjective, and I'm by no means an expert, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. This list is for the sake of content. Recently, we hit 3,700 subscribers, and I'm hoping to hit 4K by the end of 2025. I think it's super doable. So, if you like this video and you want to see weekly Overwatch esports content, subscribe to the channel for more. With that said, let's start with my honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Zyad, Hottie, Kellen, Mag, TVNT, Kuffa, Tread, Bellisria, and Hitori. Each of these tank players come pretty close to making the list, but fall short either due to lack of success or longevity. I know some of you will have these guys higher on your list, so let me know in the comments below who your top 10 is. The two guys that were the closest for me were Hottie and Zyad, who missed the list for very similar reasons. Hottie was a top 5 tank player last season, and is at the top of the EMEA region, but he hasn't played since he left Twisted Minds early on in this season. As good as he was, missing an entire year and swapping games is enough for me to take him off the list. As for Zyad, he's currently the best tank in EMEA and a top 5 tank globally, but he basically didn't play in 2024, and it's only really been good this season. I do plan on remaking these videos every year, and if he keeps playing at the level he has been, he'll be much higher on the list next year, but for now, he's going to be excluded. Starting things off at number 10, I have Hawk. Admittedly, this pick has some heavy bias, but it's my list, so I can pick whoever I want. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know that I'm an Atlanta Reign fan, so Hawk holds a special place in my heart. Now, despite the bias, Hawk actually does deserve to be in this spot. Last season, he played for Timeless and M80. He was one of the best tanks in North America, and he was able to keep up with the Toronto Defiant. Originally being an off-tank player, able to play D.Va, Sigma, and Zarya, he can play whatever tank is available. Whether you want him on Ramattra, you want him on Junker Queen, you want him on Hazard, he can play pretty much whatever. This season, he was actually retired for the first chunk, which is what's really holding him back. He'd probably be higher if he hadn't retired, but he did. But he came back midway through this year to play for SSG, and he's been incredible. Hawk is one of the best tanks in North America still. Even after retiring and coming back, he's still at the top. He helped Space Station Gaming go to the finals, and we'll see how far they can go after this. I would understand if Hawk's not on the list because of the fact that he retired midway through last year, but I think he has enough playtime and is my list, so I think number 10 is more than deserved. Coming in at number 9, I have a player who I'm not really sure how to rate. We have KSAA. Now, there is no denying KSAA is one of the best tank players in the game. He was absolutely fantastic throughout all of last year, despite moving around quite a bit. Originally, he was on Twisted Minds, and the team was incredible, but due to some internal drama involving him and Yubi, he ended up leaving, and it really hurt both parties. Twisted Minds were a shell of their former self without him, but luckily he was able to bounce back by joining Space Station Gaming. KSAA on Space Station ended up with a really good 1-2 punch with Hottie. He mostly covered the off-tanks like D.Va, Sigma, and he's also had a good Ramattra. Now, KSAA ended up going off to the Ultimates for the beginning of this season. He didn't really get a lot done, but he reunited with Twisted Minds and has been a part of that tank rotation with TVNT. KSAA is still one of the best tanks in the game, although he doesn't play full-time like a lot of the tanks higher on this list. Understandably, you could have him higher or lower depending on how much you rank his flexibility and how really essential he is to the team. He has been all over the place, and the thing that really holds him back in my head is that he's just not very consistent. He's not always a consistent starter, and when he does play, sometimes he just disappears for large chunks of time. However, he is an extremely talented tank player, one of the best in the game, and one of the best in EMEA. No doubt he deserves this spot, and rightfully so, KSAA will come in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, I have who I think is the best tank for the EMEA region. It's Vestola. Now, the difference between KSAA and Vestola isn't super big, and if you have them flip-flopped, totally makes sense. But for me, I think Vestola has provided a lot more to his teams. He started out last season playing for ENCE, and he was one of their best players by far. A team like ENCE was really up and down. They seemed to have one good performance one stage and another bad performance the next stage, but Vestola is always there, always stable and a good part of this team. He can play your off-tanks that you normally expect, but he's got really good flexibility. I wouldn't be shocked to see him play characters like Ramattra, Hazard, Junker Queen, whatever you need from Vestola. He may not be the best at every hero, but he's going to make it count when it's needed. This year, though, he actually managed to get even better. Moving over to Virtus Pro, he's really established himself as one of the best players in the game. He's been one of the best throughout this year, even winning Superstar in EMEA in Stage 1. On Virtus Pro, he got that win in Stage 1, and he was able to perform in the Mid-Season Championship. The thing that definitely holds him back, though, is his lack of overall success in international tournaments, and the fact that Virtus Pro didn't make the finals this year, but that's not really anything that falls on Vestola. Vestola has been slowly but surely climbing the ranks as one of the best tank players through the world. I remember him back in Overwatch League. People didn't really rate him, he was just an average player on the Paris Eternal, but now he's really shown that he was really good the whole time, and Vestola has more than earned the number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7, I have a player that I've seen really mixed opinions on. It's Donghak. Again, I'm an Atlanta Reign fan, so there is a little bit of bias coming to this. I really like Donghak. Donghak is an incredibly good tank who seems to always be able to elevate the team around him. He had a bit of issues last year, mostly because he just didn't play on very good teams. He started out playing for Yeti and was the main driving force in that team's success. He was able to come up pretty close and place top 4 in some of the early Korea stages in 2024, even against the juggernauts like Team Falcons and Crazy Raccoon. Later on in the year, he joined Fnatic and was yet again the standout player on Fnatic. When you think about those teams, you think about Donghak on Hammond, Winston, Doomfist, whatever else you need him to. Donghak has been quietly pretty much one of the best solo tanks in the game, and this year he's gotten even better. As a part of T1, he actually has a good team around him, and all of a sudden he's done pretty well. T1 have been one of the best teams throughout all of OWCS in 2025, getting second in Korea Stage 2 and Stage 3, as well as placing top 4 in the Mid-Season Championship. If there's one thing you can hold against Donghak, it's probably the fact that he just can't seem to beat Team Falcons and Chio. I don't know what it is, maybe they're in his head on it, or maybe Team Falcons is just built like that. I don't know why he can't get over that hump. But Donghak has been one of the best tanks in Korea the last few years, and I'm just tired of people not giving him his flowers. He's really good, and just because he has a couple of funny moments on Wrecking Ball doesn't mean that he's not one of the best tanks in the game. Coming in at number 6, I have a player that I wasn't really sure how to rank. It's Guxue. Now, everyone knows that Guxue is one of the best players in the game. He's top 4 or 5 right now. But the main issue that holds him and every Chinese player back is they couldn't play in 2024. The biggest problem is they just were not allowed to play, and it's a difference between them and some of the other guys who either retired or just weren't able to make the rosters. He wasn't able to play the game, and if he was, he wouldn't even have this conversation. He'd be top 4, no question. Guxue is still the best Winston player in the entire game, and he's somehow gotten more flexible as the game's gone on. He can play all of your traditional main tanks, but he can also play Ramattra, Hazard, Junker Queen, whatever you need. In order to be a good tank player, you have to be flexible, and Guxue's more than done that. If you're going purely off of just what he's accomplished in his time, he'd be super high. Guxue is one of my favorite players to watch because you can just see how good he is. But I had to make a decision. What do I do about the fact that he couldn't play a lot of last year? Yeah, he played a little bit, but not enough for it to really be much of a sample size. So I'm going to knock him down to 6. I think he might be higher than this, but I think this is the highest I can really justify him based on the rules that I've given. And it wouldn't be fair to other players who have missed time if I give an exception to Guxue. That being said though, Guxue is easily the best tank in China right now, and for my money is going to be one of the ones to watch when you go to the World Finals. This team can go much farther than people give them credit for. They swept the China region, they can go toe-to-toe with the Korea teams, and I'm really excited to see what the Winston God can do in the World Finals. Starting off the top 5, I have the highest ranking Western tank player to make this list. It's Infekted. Yeah, talk about a glow up, right? Y'all remember when he played for Trick Room and he beat the San Francisco Shock? Well, now he's one of the best tank players in the game. He started out playing on Students of the Game and then later NRG Shock, and was able to really show himself off as a good tank player during the Dallas Major. That got him signed to Nightmare, where he proceeded to get 3rd and then 2nd place in NA Stage 3 and 4. The only team he lost to was the Toronto Defiant, which is pretty good if you ask me. Coming into 2025, he was expected to take another step, and he really did. As a part of Team Liquid, he has been elite. He got 3rd place in Stage 1, 2nd place in Stage 2, and most recently, he won NA Stage 3. Infekted is also the solo tank for Team Liquid, so a lot of those things fall on his shoulders. He can play whatever tank you need. His normal main tanks like Reinhardt, Hammond, or Winston gets pretty much no problem, but he can also cover a lot of the off tanks because he's very flexible. For my money, Infekted is probably the best Western tank player in the game right now. It's either him or Hawk, and I think he's had a lot more overall success throughout OWCS than Hawk has, so I think he earns this spot. Infekted is only getting better, and entering the World Finals as the NA #1 seed should give him a chance to show what he's got. If he can manage to take down some of the EMEA teams or even a Korean team, I think that would really show that he is one of the best tank players in the game, and more than deserves to make the top 5. Coming in at number 4, I have BERNAR. Now, admittedly, I have put some of the Zeta Division players higher than they belong to be, but that does not apply to BERNAR. BERNAR is an absolute dog, and is usually the main driving force in Zeta Division. One of the main reasons they've won a lot of key matches that they shouldn't have. Now, as a whole, Zeta Division have been kind of a mid-team. They, for some reason, are just cursed and cannot make it to LANs, but none of that's really BERNAR's fault. Whenever I see Zeta Division lose, they lose in spite of BERNAR's efforts, not because of BERNAR. And I think if he was on a better team, he'd go even further. But enough about his team, let's talk about the actual player. BERNAR is really smart. The way he plays is so calculated. It's cold, calculating, it's really good. It's interesting to watch. He's he is one of my favorite players to watch on a day-to-day basis. He's very flexible, and that's something that you can note about him. He can play all your traditional off tanks, but he can play all of the main tanks and flex tanks better than pretty much anyone else can. There are a few players that I would trust on most of the roster. Him and a few of the guys higher than him, maybe Infekted. Not a lot of players you trust on most tanks, but BERNAR is one of those players. He has single-handedly made Zeta Division kind of relevant. Occasionally, they've beaten teams like Crazy Raccoons, Team Falcons, and T1, but they can never seem to get it done when it matters. BERNAR has consistently been carrying this team on his back, and I'm kind of tired of people not giving him the recognition he deserves because he's on a bad team. As a whole, I think BERNAR is a fantastic player, and some of you might have him lower, but I'm going to have him all the way at my top 4. Coming in at number 3 is a player that a lot of people give a lot of shit to. And I'm talking about someone. We need to have a serious conversation. I know there's a lot of people out there who clown on someone for the occasional mistakes that he makes, but let's take a step back and really think about it. Someone has been one of the best tanks throughout all of OWCS. The former 2023 Overwatch League MVP came off of that season championship and joined the Toronto Defiant, where he was immediately the best tank player in NA for the entire year. I think that people forget that, and I admittedly forgot it too when I talked about Merit, but that Toronto Defiant team was really damn good, and someone was one of the driving forces before it. Something that always stood out about someone is his sheer flexibility. I know I've been talking about flexibility a lot, but that wasn't really a thing until players like someone came along. You pretty much could not find any other tank in the game that I think can play the entire tank roster better than someone. Now, what holds him back? Well, he did miss a little bit of time in early 2025. It wasn't a lot, but he did miss a little bit, so it's worth noting. And when he joined Team Falcons, he's been a little bit iffy, inconsistent. Team Falcons have had some bad moments, but they've also had some great moments. I think in spite of some of the occasional mistakes that he makes, people give him a lot more shit than I think he deserves. Someone has been a phenomenal player, and he's an eccentric personality in OWCS. He's an incredibly kind guy, fun guy you always want to root for, and has always been on one of the best teams in the league. Like it or not, someone has a lot of success behind his belt, and there's a very, very good argument you could put him higher. However, I think the two players that I have higher than him just edge him out, but I'll be interested to see what he can do, and as a result, what Team Falcons can do when you look forward into the Finals Championship. However, I don't think he's the best tank player on his team, because coming in at number 2, I have Hanbin. Hanbin has been a legend of Overwatch esports. I mean, he dominated in the Overwatch League, won a ring, and he ended up getting a lot of stage wins. And coming into OWCS, he continued that run. As a part of Team Falcons, he's been in pretty much every single Asia Finals, alongside Crazy Raccoon. He's been one of the best tank players pretty much consistently. Back when they had Fearless on the team, him and Fearless were an unmatched duo, and now with someone, another unmatched duo. Hanbin is the best pure off-tank player in the game. His Sigma, Zarya, Junker Queen, D.Va, all unmatched. This guy is a straight-up freak of nature. His mechanics are unrivaled, and he's able to elevate this team a lot more than people give him credit for. Now, he has had that perk that a lot of the guys below him have not had of having a good duo most of the time, and it's pretty clear to see how much of an impact that has. Hanbin doesn't need to be as flexible, and he can focus on the characters that he's really good at, and as a result, he is the best on multiple off-tank characters. Now, obviously, he won a ring last year, and that also gives him a lot of credit. And to be honest, everyone and their mother knew that Hanbin was going to be all the way up at the top. Maybe some people have it at number 1. I personally have him at number 2, just in pure importance to his team, because they do have teammates to back him up. But Hanbin is an absolute freak of nature. If there's any player that I think could succeed in almost any situation, it would probably be Hanbin. The guy is able to produce at an elite level for years at this point, and when he retires, he will be a surefire Hall of Fame candidate. Now, as good as Hanbin is, I don't think I can put him at number 1, because I do think there's a tank player that's a little bit better. And if you can do process of elimination, you probably know that coming in at number 1, we have JunBin. I mean, talk about a glow up for JunBin, right? At the beginning of OWCS, I made a video talking about up-and-coming players to keep an eye on, and JunBin was right there at the top. He was pretty good on the San Francisco Shock, but we all knew that there was more he could get out of him. And man, what a glow up he's had. As a part of Crazy Raccoon, JunBin has established himself pretty quickly as the best main tank in the whole game. Whether it be his elite Wrecking Ball, Winston, Orisa, Junker Queen, Reinhardt, pretty much anything you need, JunBin's got you covered. He doesn't need to worry about the off tanks because Crazy Raccoon has Max who can play off tank, so he's able to hone those characters he's really good at. For my money, he's probably the best Wrecking Ball player in the world. It's maybe him or Donghack, but I think it's probably him. Obviously, Crazy Raccoon has had insane success throughout OWCS, right? They made it to basically every Asia final up against Crazy Raccoon. They made it all the way to the Grand Finals last year in a really close game. They've won multiple Asia Stage Finals this year, and I'm pretty sure they are undefeated in Asia Stage Finals this year. Or I guess Korea Stage Finals, same thing. So overall, Crazy Raccoon have been elite, and JunBin's a part of that. Originally, people were worried about the tank line, like, oh man, are Lip and Shu gonna have to carry this guy? No, not at all. In the Dallas Major, he ended up winning MVP, which goes to show just how good he is. He also got the 2024 Tank MVP for his great play, and I wouldn't be shocked if he won it again this year. JunBin is an absolute god, and he's super young. He's only 20. He's younger than me. He's got a lot of time left, and I think he's going to be a major contributor for the next couple years. With that said, this is my complete list of the top 10 tank players in OWCS right now. I really hope you enjoyed. I've really been appreciating the support on this series, and I look forward to remaking it again next year, so thank you guys for watching. If you have any ideas for other videos, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you've watched this far, you probably like my stuff, so leaving a like and subscribing really helps me out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. That's all for me though. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, love you guys.